Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to talk about all things mortgages with a thought leader in the lending industry. His story just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team. And the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, towards the end of last year, when mortgage rates were ticking up, seemed like every single day, there was a lot of fear and a lot of people just put off getting a home. Now it seems like they've stabilized to some extent. And to talk about that, Jason O'Quinn, the president of Petra Home Lending. Thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, let's start at the very beginning. You got into the mortgage business in what year?
Well, in 2005 is when I started in the mortgage lending business. Prior to that, I'd been in commercial real estate. And 2007 came quick right after I started. It was a difficult season for sure.
Well, tell me what happened that year. Did it go from full speed ahead to nothing?
Well, it really did. What was happening during that time, of course, and many say that housing led us into the recession. So housing really, there were some risky loans that had been done in the previous years. Loan-to-value ratios were so high, and so many people were underwater. They owed more on their home than what it was worth. And so we all remember that time. It was very, very difficult to be able to navigate. And so, sure, real estate just came to a stop, really during that season, primarily because funding dried up. Investors were not willing to invest in real estate, so it made for a difficult season.
Now, when did you break out on your own?
It was during that time. So in 2005, Petra was started just with a group of people, like-minded people. Well, a couple of years after that, that group of people said, hey, I think we're going to go back to our full-time jobs. And I was left there with, well, what do I do? Yeah. I had just come from a commercial real estate career, and I felt sort of alone. What am I going to do? And so at that point, I said, well, it's all or nothing now. It's time to do this on my own. So starting in 2007, I raised some funding, was able to buy out the partners, and it's been a fun ride since then.
Well, I love the name. So what does Petra mean?
Well, Petra is Greek for rock. And so for many years, the tagline of my company was rock solid above reproach. Today, it's your home, our calling, which I'm happy to talk about that as well. But rock really means, for me, just a foundational truth. In Matthew chapter 7 in the Bible, we hear about those that hear the words of Jesus will build their house upon the foundation that is strong, a rock foundation. When the winds come, when the rain comes, and when the floods rise, the house will stand strong. But if you don't, you're building your house on the sand, and when the storms come, it'll fall. And so we love that truth of just building our company, and that's what I've striven to do, or strove to do, is just to build a company on a strong foundation. Mm-hmm. I think people respond well to that. They want to know that they can trust their mortgage company. They're giving us such personal information. You really think about it. You have to be vulnerable to get a mortgage to some degree. You're sharing your income. You're sharing your asset information. Not everyone's credit is perfect. And so people bring to me every single day circumstances within their life, and they're really just an open book to me and say, can you help me? Mm. With housing being such a foundation or a bedrock of our economy and of families' lives, I value that more than anything else, to trust that every single client places in me. So I always say this, that every mortgage transaction is driven by some life circumstance. And so, Jeff, one thing that I think about a lot is a story that happened many years ago. A young family bought a home. I financed that home up in Denison, Texas, and a year later, the gentleman calls me, the husband, and he says, well, you're not going to believe this, but we're moving. I've accepted a new job. I was at this church in Denison, and now I'm going to be at a church in Arlington. And the thing that really struck me, what he said was, He said, no one knows that we're moving. Not even my family or my closest friends. My first thought was to call you, because if I'm moving my family from one location to another, I want to make sure that we have housing. So can you help us? So that was just that's just an honor.
Sure, to have that kind of personal relationship with your clients. And I know you're a man of faith, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But I want to show this overview video.
When it comes to home lending, no two borrowers are the same. And for the team at Petra Home Lending, that insight is at the heart of everything they do.
Petra Home Lending is a Dallas-based mortgage lender that specializes and focuses on residential real estate loans throughout the state of Texas. Clients share with me circumstantially what's going on in their lives. I always say that every real estate transaction is really driven by some circumstantial change in someone's life. For instance, their housing needs change because of a growing family, or they're empty nesters and need to downsize, or maybe a job relocation is concerned. All clients, however, have one thing in common, and that's their desire to own a home.
Actually, before I worked here, I was a client 3 times over. And in my own experience, really the win was that Jason provided such personalized service. I love that he walked us through every step of the process, answered all of our questions, and we were really clear on what we were signing and why it was the best fit for us from the beginning. And now working here on the team at Petra, I get to see that happen over and over. Petra's really a family. I think clients come to us because they know they can trust us. Every officer is making sure to offer a full picture of their financial goals and make sure that they're meeting their needs in every way.
As top experts in the North Texas housing market, Petra Home Lending seeks to understand their clients' needs.
I always live by this, that the choices someone makes or even a company makes is contingent upon what they value. And so when somebody makes a choice, it shows forth what they value. And the choices that Jason and his team made for me let me know that one, I was a value, my family was a value, and then thirdly, us being in a home together safely and having a refuge for my family was a value. We were looking for a house, but we didn't know it was gonna have to come so quickly. And so that's how I got introduced to Petra. Jason and I, we were just rolling out the situation and the timeliness that needed to take place. And man, Jason was just so even keel, not stressed out. I'm like, I need this guy in my corner.
With every transaction, I get the opportunity to know my clients and help them realize their financial goals. When you call me, you're calling my cell phone, not an 800 number. I take calls on the weekends and reply to text messages after hours. I'm here to make the process as smooth as possible. People definitely need to have their financing in place well before you start looking at potential properties. In a competitive market, buyers that come in with the best offer will win, and having solid financing is a part of that.
That's why they work to gain a full view of every client's financial picture.
Well, the best advice that I can offer right now to potential home buyers specifically is that you work well ahead of time to be not just pre-qualified, but pre-approved. So many potential homeowners have heard this term pre-qualified. I need to be pre-qualified or have a pre-qualification, but our team here at Petra Home Lending takes pre-qualification to the next level and actually issues pre-approvals. The second tip that I would have for potential home buyers is to start thinking now about who you want on your team. It takes a team to get a home under contract and to close on that home. And so you need a lender that you can trust, that you can communicate with, but you also need a realtor, a real estate agent that knows the market and can help you get a home under contract for your family. This is no doubt an incredible time to buy a home or to refinance a home in the state of Texas. The list is endless of what makes Texas as a whole, and North Texas specifically, such a great place to live. But you need good teammates on your side. You need people that can assist you in a real estate transaction. Petra Home Lending and our loan officers are ready and available to help you accomplish the dream of home ownership.
For more information about how Petra Home Lending is making a difference in the mortgage industry, visit their website, petralending.com and designingspaces.tv.
So, Jason, one of the things that struck me about the video is that you're really passionate about attracting the right people to be on your team. Talk a little bit about your team, and while you're describing it, we're going to put up a picture of your team. Just beautiful. Do you only hire beautiful people? Is that
goodness? They're going to be watching this, Jeff. And so, no, I'm extremely fortunate to have the team around me that I do, and the fact that they're seasoned experts in the industry is also extremely important. Most of the loan officers that partner with us and work with us have been originating loans for a long time. And so some might say, well, if you had an extremely busy 2020 and 2021, which we did, and really the first quarter of 2023, there was just a lot of activity in the North Texas housing market, but really across the country, and definitely Texas for sure. We've seen a little bit of a slowdown. And so in quarter four of 2022, as you alluded to, a lot of home buyers just sort of push pause. What are rates doing? What are home prices doing? One thing I'm encouraged by is some stability in the market, which is leading to some more activity. The demand is picking up. People are sort of getting off the fence and saying, okay, now is the time. And so for my team specifically of loan officers and support staff, my encouragement to them every day is to stay the course. The relationships that we built with financial planners, CPAs, real estate agents, title companies, insurance companies, our network of referral partners, if the most important thing that we can do is keep them updated on what's going on in the market, to provide valuable information that allows them to succeed. That's what we focus on. If we're helping others succeed, all ships rise, right, Jeff? And so that's what we focus on. So our loan officers are encouraged. I'm encouraged by their wherewithal to stay the course. And so we're generally optimistic about what 2023 holds.
That's cool. Well, I know you have a great team at the office, but you also have a very strong home team. Let's put up some pictures of your family. And I got to tell you, this looks like a stock photo, a picture that you put in a picture frame before you put in your real picture. You have just a beautiful family. Tell me more about them.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, my wife, Holly. We've been married almost 21 years now. We met in college, and I have son Jacob and Johnny, boy, they are the light of my life. In fact, right now at this moment, they're both on school mini-semester trips, mission trips.
Nice.
So they're out and about this week serving others. There are some days, Jeff, where my kids say, "Well, Dad, do I need to go to college? What am I going to do after high school? I just want to be in real estate. I just want to be an entrepreneur or a business owner." And so often, that's both humbling
Sure.
that they want to do that. But I say, no, you need to stay in class. You need to get your education, because the value of education, and I'm a lifelong learner. So for me, graduate school and even work after graduate school is so critical, because if you're not learning, you're lagging behind. So I want my kids to make sure that they're focusing on their education. So I'm fortunate so often, every single day, just to have the family that I do. And my wife is so humble and gracious to support me and to support our family in the ways that she does. So I'm a fortunate man.
Yeah. I know your family is super important to you, and so is your faith. So in the time we have left, would you share a little bit about your faith journey?
Well, sure, absolutely. My faith is this, that I believe that God created us in His own image, that we're all fearfully and wonderfully made, that He sent Jesus to earth to live a perfect life, to die on the cross for our sins, and that He was resurrected so that we could have eternal life. And so my faith is central to everything that I do. I want it to be. It's not perfect, of course. Only Jesus was perfect. But I want the values, the principles. I want the values, the principles, and really just my faith to undergird and to be the bedrock of everything that I do throughout my life.
You've been a great guest. We're going to end with a website, which is petralending.com. The great Jason O'Quinn. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. Appreciate it.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.